guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. So today we are going to do a React project, but we are going to be using WordPress. And before you grunt and groan about WordPress, what we're going to be doing is taking posts from a WordPress content site that has news articles or whatever, or in this case, just dummy posts, and we're going to be using them in a React application, and we're going to be we're going to be working with the WordPress API. If you're new to my channel, first of all, thank you. Second of all, what I like to do is take uh, aspects of web development, including coding and software development, and put them in simple to understand terms, breaking them up into small components, no pun intended, with React, so that anybody can understand them, especially beginners. Because like I said, I remember when I was just starting out, and everything just seemed so confusing, as I'm sure you can sympathize with. And so I just wanted to create some videos to sort of break those things down. And believe me, I know there's a million different coding channels out there, and most of them are really good, and a lot of them I follow and learn from. But I feel like, because I train in martial arts, and one thing that we always preach is that, you know, you shouldn't learn from just one sensei. And I feel like that's true with most things, including coding, is that, you know, you can watch Brad Traversy, you can watch the Coding Train, any of them, and they explain it very well. They have great videos, but there's always something else you can just pick up, even if it's one little detail that helps you out. And so I hope to be just one of the many. So if that sounds good, please click subscribe below. Excuse me, and also hit the bell icon. Sorry. Uh, and also hit the bell icon so that you can get notified when I upload a new video. For a while now, I've been uploading on Friday nights. So that seems to be somewhat regular, and I plan to continue to do that. Also, if you have any requests of things you'd like to see, in terms of projects or just ideas or whatever, please leave that below in a comment. And also, if you find this video helpful, please leave a like. I appreciate it. So, with all that out of the way, so today, this is our project. This is what it's going to be looking like, hopefully, at the end. We're going to use a few packages from NPM, Node Package Manager. One is Axios in order to do the HTTP call to the API. So basically, an API is a source where you get usually JSON information from. And HTTP is you get it online. It's not stored on a local machine. Your browser has to get it from an API or a URL usually. That's the most common anyway. So what I have here is, this is hopefully what the final product is going to be. We're going to be using React and components. We're going to be using React Strap just to give us a little bit of styling, because I figured what the heck, might as well make it look nice while we're at it. Also, what I have is I have a WordPress site running on my local machine through XAMPP, which is a program that you download from the website. You can just type in XAMPP, XAMPP, or MAMP, which is for Mac, or WAMP, which is for Windows, but XAMPP is the one that I use. It's fine. Anyway, it runs a WordPress site on your PC. I'll show you. Slash, what did I call it? Website demo, I think. So this is just a generic website that I did for my previous video on how to create a WordPress site for free in 2021 using Elementor. If you want to, I'll link that in the description as well. It was kind of fun. Anyway, I don't think I have the posts here, but maybe I could show you. Anyway, so this is my WordPress site, And I just created 3 dummy posts with just generic text in them, and they're the same as here. Okay, so we actually don't even need this. We don't even need to deal with the WordPress site, but I have it running on XAMPP. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So I'm gonna open this, and this is on Windows, by the way. So I'm gonna make a directory. I'm gonna call this React WordPress app. CD React dash WordPress, whoops, WordPress app. And I'm gonna do yarn because instead of npx, because sometimes npx doesn't work for me. Create React dash app dot to create it inside this React WordPress folder package. What? Oh, little typo there. Problems already. Okay, so this takes a little bit. I'll try to cut it out if it goes on for too long. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to hit code period, code dot to open up in VS Code. Actually, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to shut this demo down. And here we have our VS Code. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up some of these files that I usually do. App.css. We don't have too much CSS, very little in fact. So I'm just going to delete all that. I'm going to delete the test. I'm going to delete this index CSS, logo, this, the testing. Don't need any of that. Index.js. I'm going to get rid of this. I do have a video on this, but it doesn't take that long to get rid of all this stuff. Index, I'm going to clean up everything so we just have a single div, and we're going to say WordPress. I got to get rid of this, otherwise it'll error out. This here. Get rid of this. One thing I'm going to do real quick is get Bootstrap, because we do need Bootstrap. Even though we're using Reactstrap, you need the Bootstrap CDN. So I'm going to add that in here now while I have this open. Okay. And I'm going to change this to React WordPress app. I'll get rid of this. You don't really need that. See, I think that's it. Save all. I'm going to open up a term. Actually, I'll close all these. I'm going to open up a terminal. I'm going to right click on this terminal and I'm going to move it to the right because that's what I prefer to do. You do whatever you like. And we're going to hit npm start to run the application. Oh, sorry, I forgot. It's giving me this thing. I found the easiest thing is to just add a .env file and put a skip pre-flight check equals true. I'm not sure if somebody has an answer. I'm sure it's an easy answer, but this is the only thing I found that works. And then just run npm start again, and that should do it. Okay. And there we go. So we have our thing running. Next, what we need to do is now stop that. So I'm going to hit Control C on a Mac or Command C. I'm sorry, Control C on a Windows, Command C on a Mac. Yes. We need to install a few a few packages, some basic ones that I went over in another video. I'll link that as well in the description where I talk about the top 3 npm packages that beginners should start with. in my opinion. So I'm going to do npm I for install. We're going to need Axios, of course, to do the HTTP call. We're going to need moment because we're going to be working with a little bit of dates. And that just helps format dates in a really easy way compared to Java, plain vanilla JavaScript. And we need, let's see, React Strap for our design. Now, React Strap sometimes takes a little bit to install, but it's pretty good. It basically allows you to use a Bootstrap components or Bootstrap classes as React components. So it's kind of nice, and I like it. It's a lot easier. Basically, you import the individual things like a container or whatever, and then you use that as the HTML or the JSX, actually, I should say. It uses Bootstrap elements as JSX. Okay, guys, so we got all those packages installed, or the three, obviously, Axios, Moment, and React Strap. Let me just shrink this down a little bit. Axios, Moment, and React Strap. All right, so now we can get into the actual construction. So first thing we need to do is get um, our URL, I suppose. So we're going to go local host slash, and the WordPress website is running on XAMPP. The React, even though they're both local hosts, this React app is running through VS Code in their live server. So this is, and the WordPress site is running through XAMPP, which is different, so they can run together. Okay. Okay, and so our all we do is on the end of our, oops, on the end of our, whatever your website URL is, whatever your web address is, this would be normally .com and then slash wp-json/WordPress or wp/version2/posts. That's to get our posts. Oh, sorry. Yours probably will have .com. Mine doesn't because it's on a local host. But that's how it would go. And here we get all our JSON. Here's our title. Here's our text. You know, the author ID, featured media ID, which we're going to be using later. Tags, links. This is all our JSON data. So this is the URL that we're going to put into our components, which we're going to do now. So I'm going to create a folder, components, and I'm going to add a file. New file, we're going to call this posts.js. And I have an extension, ES7 React Redux GraphQL React Native Snippets, which is extremely helpful because it allows me, it allows me to do things like this. Start typing RAC, and I get this RAFCE, and it gives me a React functional component without having to type it in. It gives you the boilerplate. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we're gonna bring in a few things. Axios, of course, from Axios is a package, so no dot slash. For this component, we're just going to get a few things from React Strap, container, and row, just for styling purposes, obviously. And VS Code even suggests the things we want to import from, which is nice. Excuse me. Okay, so, oh, we also need, because we're going to be using hooks for this, we need use state hook, whoops, state and use effect. I will also leave a link in the description for my breakdown of use state and use effect video. I'll put that in the description as well. So we're going to be using that. So we're going to create a piece of state here using use state, const, and we're going to open brackets, and we're going to say, we'll call them posts, comma, and then actually it should be, I guess, get posts. Okay, equals use state. And for now, we're just going to set that to an empty array, which is opening and closing brackets. Okay, now we're going to create, we're going to actually get the info here, or the JSON data. Use effect, takes a callback function. I'm using an arrow function. Let's see, we're going to do const fetch posts equals async. We're going to use an asynchronous function, so we don't have to use .then. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons. And then we add on our arrow function, open that. And this is where we're going to do our actual Axios call. So we're going to say let results equal, we're going to store it in a function. I'm sorry, a variable. Await, this is where we await it. Axios.get. Now we're only doing Axios.get here. We're not doing anything else. I'll just split that up on a second line. And here's where we put our URL of our JSON data from our WordPress site. Paste that puppy in there. Okay. And then let's see, then after the Axios call, we're going to get posts. We're going to use our function up here. This is like this dot set state, and we're going to set it to results dot data, because results is everything. The data portion of it is what we want. Okay. Now, as I'm sure you've probably done in the past, you've forgotten to do what? That's right. Call the function. Get posts. Otherwise, it won't work, and you'll tear your hair out. Now, let's down here. Let's do console.log, and we're going to say console.log posts. We're going to log our posts for now. Okay. Oh, and then we have to start up our okay, so we have this here. So let's open our dev tools, right click, close this alone, go to our console. Good, we got nothing. Good. Let's see, good. Everything is good. Oh, right, of course. As I often forget, we have to import this. So import posts from /components/posts. And then we have to put it down here. I'm going to delete this WordPress, and we're going to put posts / in there. I think is that. Save it again. And there we go. Good. And here's our posts. Now it's sort of doing this infinite loop, which is a problem. So in your posts, inside your use effect, what you want to do is right after this curly brace, you want to do add it, set it back to an empty array. So here we get it, we set the array, and then once we get the information into our posts array, we then set it back to an empty array so that it doesn't do that and get caught in an infinite loop, which is not good. And there we go. And here's our 3 posts. Let's see. As you can see, it saved just the data portion. This is all that we need. Here's our title, links. Where's content? Our rendered content. It's a lot. Okay, so it looks like we're getting everything. Next, next we're just going to come down here. We're going to build a little space to put our stuff here. I'm going to open a container. I'm going to open a row because we're going to try to do this neat. And in here, I'm going to put a JSX expression. What I like to do, and you don't have to do this, but I like to do this. I'm going to store, I'm going to store everything in a variable, and I'll show you what I mean. So basically, our posts now has been set to an array of our information, and now we have to loop through it, or actually map through it, I should say. So we're going to take our posts array from our state, dot map, okay, and we're going to call each individual one a post, okay, and we're going to set it to show in a post element, an individual post element, which we haven't created, but we will. Okay. A little thingy on that. Now, what we want to do, since we want each individual post to be its own component, we're going to pass in the props. And this is how it is to do with hooks, and it's very easy. Post. And also, you'll find we get an error, but we'll deal with that. Now, of course, we haven't created that individual post component. We're going to import it, post, from /post. Now we haven't created it yet, but I will. So we're going to get an error, and that's fine. I'm going to say create a new file called post.js. Okay, and I'm going to do that same RAC, and you get this RAFCE. I'm going to change the title of it to a capital. And here's where we do some work here. So we're going to need to import a few things. We're going to need to import Axios again because we're going to be doing another call. Axios. Okay. We're going to need to import moment because we're going to be working with dates. And this is just an easy way to format them. Okay. And then we need a whole bunch of stuff from reactjs. So I'm going to put it parentheses, a column to go with our row, card image, img, card text, card body, card title, right? And card, what's the other one? Oh, subtitle. Title from reactjs. Beautiful. Now, okay, so first thing we need to do is bring in our props. Now we could just do props, but then you got to do props dot post dot whatever. So it's easier to just destructure and give it some curly braces and put the post in there. That way we only have to do post dot title or whatever. We also need to create, which we forgot to do up here, we have to bring in again use state and use effect. Oops. Okay, because we're going to be using those down here. So for our state, we need to const. We're going to be bringing in the image, and now I'll show you in a minute. Let me just do this. We'll call this set img or image equals use state. Correct, and we'll set it to an empty array because we're going to be getting back more JSON. Okay. So let me show you. So in our JSON data, as you can see, we get a lot of information. What we don't get is all the media information. For that, you have to go to /media, which makes sense, obviously. And in here is where we get, your description, yada, yada. But here's where we get our media details, our sizes, and then you pick your size, and then you get your source URL. It open this in a new tab, and there's our image. So that source URL is what we want. Okay. So, but first we have to get it, obviously. So for that we do use effect again. Right. And we open up our callback. Okay. Now we're going to do another one, const fetch img, or I guess image would be better. Can't spell. Image equals async, our fat arrow function. Open that. Now here we're going to do await again. Axios. Okay. Let's see. Open that up to our parentheses. Now in here, we're going to go to this media. So not posts anymore. We're going to go to this media URL. We're going to post that in there, except, actually, let me undo that. And I forgot, we're going to use backticks, the little hash mark next to your number 1 on your keyboard. Then we're going to post that in. And then in here, we're going to open up a variable, and we're going to set this to post.featured, featured media, underscore media. Now what that is, let me show you. So back on our posts URL from our main post component, if you scroll down a little bit, you have this here, featured media, and an ID set by WordPress. Okay, which we have by getting this information from our posts, and we're passing it through our props into here through this, and then we're going to use it down here. Okay, let me show you. So if we come to the media URL and /70, you can see we get our 70 and our apples image, right? So that's how we're going to get it. Okay. So not too crazy, but you know, it's all good. Okay. Then, so after that, we're going to do dot then. We're going to set our response, and we're going to do set img. And now we have to do a little digging. Res.data, which you know should be familiar from the other one. Media underscore details dot sizes dot medium dot source underscore URL. Okay, and then we'll after that we'll do a dot catch. We'll just log. Oops, we'll just log the error if there is one. There shouldn't be, but if. Okay, and then let's not forget to call our function fetch image. Okay, and then so it's gonna not work exactly right. One thing we have to do. So basically, UseEffect is similar to the component did mount in class and React. So UseEffect sets the state the first time it renders. In this case, it's going to re-render. So instead of setting it back to an empty array, we're going to set it back to the original, which is post.featured media. Okay. The other one, it was an empty array. This one, it's that. Let's see. And again, let's just console.log img, all our img information. Save all. Should be good. Good. And our WordPress, let's refresh. It's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Did I import this? Post. Okay. Let's put our data variable in there. Forgot about that. And there we go. There's an error. Shouldn't be. Let me restart this. Sometimes that's the easiest solution. There we go. Let's see if it gives it to us this time. Okay, good. Huh. 4. Shouldn't be. Close that. We're done with that. Oh, I forgot the slash. You need a slash in there. And there we go. It's giving us our images, right? There they are. Cool. All right, so nothing's showing up on the screen yet because we haven't done it. We haven't done that yet. So let's do that now. Okay. I'm actually going to change these divs into a fragment, which is just whatever those greater than, less than signs, whatever those are called. And I'm going to add my column here to coincide with my row. Oops. Okay, and we're going to start building. Card. Our card doesn't need a class. We're going to do card image. We're going to say at the top, this is just React strap width equals 100. Sorry, that has to go in quotes. Equals 100%. Our source will be our state, which is our image. Once it gets set, which it will as soon as it loads. And then if you don't give it an alt, it will error out. Post image. I don't know, you could set it to whatever you want. Close that. Actually, you could just do a self-closing tag. Okay. Next, let's deal with our card body. Okay, and then card title. We're going to give it a tag equaling an H5. I mean, set it to whatever you want. Whoops. H5, set it to whatever you want again. Now, here's where our props comes into play. So we need post dot title dot rendered because in our posts URL or API, you can see here it's not just titled, it's then rendered because WordPress has a whole thing with draft and published and blah blah blah. Okay, so let's do, under that we're going to do card subtitle tag. We're going to give this an H6 to make it a little bit smaller, and we're going to give it a class name. I'm going to push it down a little bit. Margin bottom 2, which is a bootstrap thing, and we're going to say text dash muted because we're going to be putting the date in here. Okay, now here's where our moment comes into play. So we're going to open a JSS expression. Oops, moment. which is a function, and we're going to pass in our post.modified defined because that's WordPress goes by the last time it was modified. Then we're going to format our date here. This looks a little confusing, but it's not that bad. And moment.js has a lot of great documentation. It's pretty easy. Just Google search moment.js. That's for our month, date, and year. We'll do H colon uh, mm colon SS, and then A for AM or PM. Okay, that's our subtitle, card subtitle. Card now text. Okay, let's see. Now for this, we're just going to give a little blurb, a small paragraph of the whole article, just a preview, so to speak. So instead of writing our, post dot excerpt, I think it is, what is it? Excerpt, it's hard to say. Instead of excerpt dot rendered, instead of that, we need to do something. I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to delete this altogether, actually. Instead of doing that, we're going to use something called dangerously set inner HTML. And I'll tell you why in a second. Equals paragraph, curly braces. No, I'm sorry. Uh, 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 yeah, double curly braces. Uh, dangerously set inner HTML. We're going to set underscore underscore HTML, and then that's where we're going to put our post.excerpt. So what this does is basically removes all the p tags and the h heading tags and stuff. Otherwise, it would show all the HTML inside there. So it basically is just an easy way to get rid of that. Okay, let's see what we get. We should have something showing up. If not, I'm going to be upset. Okay, and there we go. And there's our dealios. Each child in a list should have a unique key. We're going to solve that in a second, but here it is. Here's our image. Here's our post with our date, our formatted date. Otherwise, this would just be a string of numbers or a number. So let's deal with this warning here. Don't worry about this manifest. That's just because we're developing. So let's deal with this. And actually, I'm going to also delete this console. Don't want to leave consoles in your production. So in here, in our each individual post, we need to add a key. And we're going to set that to post .id. So it has a unique key. So the virtual DOM knows which one to update if there's any updates. Okay. And there we go. That goes away. Cool. Let's add our CSS real quick because it's just very short, as you'll see. We're going to say body, comma, class card dot post modal, which we haven't created yet, but we will. We're going to set background color to this dark gray, and we're going to set the color to white. And that's it. That's all. That's all the CSS for this. No big deal, as you can see. Now we haven't created the post modal yet. That's why it hasn't changed. But let's do that. So I'm going to close this. So we have our posts. Okay. I'm going to import one more thing. Import full post. We're going to create a modal so that the reader can read the full post rather than cramming it all into that. Full post from / full post. Now we haven't created this yet, but we will. Okay, so let's come to components, add a new file, full post.js. Okay, RASPEC, sorry. Okay, so now we have that. Now this is not really a big deal. Okay, there's not a whole lot we have to do here. It's pretty standard in terms of creating a modal. We do need to bring in use state because we're going to needing to create a piece of state for our modal, which is standard for React Strap modals. I'm going to import moment again, moment from moment, because we're going to be adding the date also in this one. Now we need to import from React Strap. We need a button. We need our modal, of course, modal header, modal body, modal footer. You don't really need this, but what the hell. And that's it. From /react strap. There we go. Cool. Okay, so let's all right, let's get our modal out of the way. So we're going to create a button. Okay. And I'm going to set this size to equal small or extra small, I guess. It's probably better. And we're going to set an on. I'll save that. So yeah, here I'm going to say read full post. Okay, so that's our button to open our modal. Of course, it won't work yet, but we're going to fix that. Modal, this is our main modal. I'm going to set size equal to large, which this is all standard React Strap. It's all in the documentation. Here's where we're going to set our class name that we created. Post-modal. Okay, that we did in our CSS. Okay, and we're going to say modal header. Okay, we're going to give it class name equals post-modal again. Okay, line. Here's where we oh, geez. Okay, so back in post, our single post, we're going to add right underneath this. We're going to add in our full post component slash. Now we need to also pass in the props from this component down to full post component because they're all children. So post the exact same way, post of our post. Okay, and we imported it in here. Now here we need to do the same thing we did here. Bring in our post, and we're going to destructure yada yada. You know this already. You're an expert. Good. So that we can open our JavaScript expression, do post dot title dot rendered. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now let's do a p tag dot with a class of text dash muted, and that's the ES7 React snippets thing that I got there. Now in here we're going to again open a JavaScript expression moment, just like actually we can go and copy that because it's the exact same thing, which is really the only time you should copy and paste is from your own code to save you a few seconds. So outside of the modal header, let's do modal body. And give it a class name of equals post-modal again. Now we're going to have to do something else to this, so let's just open that for now. So that's our modal body, and then we'll put in modal footer, and we're going to do a button. Okay, and we'll give it a class name, class name secondary, which is a standard Bootstrap color thing, something, I don't know. And we'll say close to close the modal. Now, excuse me, in our body again, now what we need to do is add that same dangerously set inner HTML. I don't know why it's called that, but it is. Double curly braces, underscore, underscore, HTML, colon, and then we do our post dot content dot rendered, right? Because in our posts we have our content rendered, which is the entire thing, and under here is our excerpt, which we put in our post component. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I think we're good. Now it's probably not going to run exactly perfect. It does. Okay, whatever. Shut up. But obviously this doesn't work. So we need to create some functionality for that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to const modal. This is pretty standard for reactjs modal equals use state. And we're going to set that to false initially as the default value, because of course you don't want your modal to be open right off the bat. Okay. Now we're going to create the actual functionality, and we're going to create a const, actually a function, and store it in a constant, which is called toggle. You can call it whatever you want. I'm calling it toggle because I'm cool. And then we're going to do set modal, right, which is our use state function here, which is like this dot set state. And then we're going to set it to whatever it's not, right? So exclamation point is not, the modal, whoops, and whatever the state is not, it's going to set it to the opposite. So if it's open, it's going to close it, and vice versa. Okay, now we just got to add some things to control that. So we're going to add it on click. Oops, not on click toggle. Let's see, whatever. I mean, you can add it to the modal itself. This will close it if you click on the modal itself. And then of course down here, toggle. Okay. Let's see, do we need anything else? We shouldn't. Let's save it and see what we get. Says successful, ladies and gentlemen. Still getting this. Did I do that right? What did I call it in the app CSS? Post modal. Post modal. Oh, I forgot the little comma there. Drive you nuts with that. And there we go. All right, so we got our posts. Looks not too bad. Let's hit our read full post. It's not working. Good. I didn't want it to work. I was just testing you guys to see if you're paying attention. All right, let me close this app.css. Toggle, blah, blah, blah. False. Oh. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. We have to set the modal to open should be equal to the modal state. This here should be equal to that. I forgot that. So is open. That's just a standard React strap dealio. And there we go. Sort of jumped the gun there, but that's okay. Okay. And there we go. There's our modal. Read through it. It's interesting. It's just dummy text. Okay, guys, and here we are. So that's it. One thing I guess we could, excuse me, I can do this class name equals margin top 4. Just to push that down, it bothers me a little bit. There we go, just to push that up. Anyway, so this is it. Getting it from a WordPress API, so your content creators can post to their WordPress website, and then you can get information from it and create a React application. And by the way, basically all this logic, the use state, the use state, the React strap, maybe not React strap, but like all this passing of props and stuff, all that is translates into React Native. So you can make this a mobile app as well. If you want your content creators to be able to post to a WordPress website, and then maybe your company wants a a mobile app, you can do the same thing so that people can read their uh, articles on an app and get notifications and things like that. But that's another video. All right, listen, guys, I appreciate it. It's a little bit of a long video, but I think it worked out nicely. And so if you found this video helpful in any way, please leave a like. If you have any questions or ideas for videos that you would like to see, please leave a comment below. And also subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you can get notified of future upcoming videos. All right, guys, thanks. Take care.